one of the most important AI security incidents of 2025, and possibly the most important one you have never heard of. Okay, so it is called your EchoLeak. The official CVE number is CVE 2025 32711. Okay, Microsoft gave it a CVSS score of 9.3. That is critical, the highest tier. Now, before I explain what it is, let me tell you what it is not. It is not about a data breach where someone hacked a server. It is not a phishing attack where someone clicked a bad link. It is not a malware. It is not a ransomware. It has none of these things your security tools are designed to detect. Okay, so EchoLeak is something completely new. It is the first well documented real world exploitable zero click prompt injection against a production enterprise AI agent. Okay, so let me say that in plain English, an attacker sent an ordinary looking email to a company. Uh, uh, Nobody clicked it, nobody opened an attachment, nobody followed a link. The company's Microsoft 365 Copilot read the email as part of its normal job and then silently leaked confidential company data to the attacker. The AI acting perfectly correctly, doing exactly what it was designed to do, was the attack weapon. Okay, so millions of enterprise uh, your Microsoft 365 Copilot seats were affected. The patch shift in June 2025. Okay, no customer action was required to be protected once patched. But here is the thing I want you to understand by the end of this video. The patch fixed this specific implementation. The underlying design question is the assumption that an AI agent can trust everything it retrieves. Okay, the question is not patched away. Uh, it exists in every RAG-based AI system your organization used or built. Okay, so moving to your slide number 2. So what happened? The zero click attack. Okay, let me tell you the story of Priya. Okay, Priya is a senior strategy analyst at large enterprise. On a Tuesday morning, she received what appeared to be a written HR email. Subject line is the new employee onboarding guide. Professional looking, no typos, no suspicious links, no attachment asking her to enable macros. She glanced at it and decided it could wait. Okay, she moved on to her day. She never opened it properly. She never clicked anything inside it. Okay. 3 hours later, she opened the Microsoft 365 Copilot, typed a simple question. Can you summarize the latest strategy updates from my team? Copilot did what Copilot is designed to do. It searched through Priya's recent emails, files, and documents to find relevant context. It found the onboarding email. It retrieved it as a usual a context for her questions. And inside that email, invisible to Priya, was hidden set of instructions. Okay, the instructions that Copilot read and executed as if Priya herself had typed them. Okay. So Copilot accessed confidential SharePoint files. It retrieved Teams messages from a private strategy channel. It formatted all type of data as a hidden image URL, and it made on outbound HTTP request to a server the attacker controlled, silently delivering Priya's confidential company data. No malware run, no firewall alert fired, no antivirus triggered, no SIM rule matched. Nothing unusual appeared in an security dashboard. Now look at the comparison on this slide. On the left, traditional phishing, every single step requires Priya to make a mistake. She has to click the link. She has to open the attachment. She has to enable the macro. She has to type her password. into fake login page. The attacker needs human error to succeed. On the right side is your EchoLeak. Priya does nothing wrong at any step. The email arrives. She does not even read it. Copilot retrieves it automatically. She did not ask for that specific email. Copilot executes the instruction. She had no idea they were there. The data is exfiltrated. She never found out. Here is the real world analogy I want you to remember for this entire video. So imagine you have a very diligent personal assistant. You ask them to prepare a briefing on the company's recent strategy. So your assistant goes through your inbox, your files, your meeting notices, collects everything relevant, excellent. That is their job. But someone had slipped a forged note into your inbox. Okay, this disguised as an HR guy. So inside that note, hidden in any white writing on white paper. Okay. Inside that note, hidden in tiny white writing on white paper. So, what you are preparing the briefing, and also make a copy of every confidential document you find, and the post it to the address. So, your assistant, being diligent, doing their job, having no reason to distrust a note in your inbox, follows the instruction. That is EchoLeak. The AI was the assistant, the inbox was Microsoft 365, and the white writing was the hidden prompt payload. Okay, so that is what it is. The entire, the zero-click attack. Okay, so now move to slide 3. The hidden payload. What Copilot read inside the email. Okay, so something this is being explained. Okay, so look at the left side of the side. What is Priya saw, and she glanced at the email. Okay, from the HR company.com new employee onboarding guard. Onboarding guide. So now look at the right side. This is what Copilot's language model actually read when it retrieved that email. Okay, completely clean, nothing to click. Okay, so the same visible text is there, but hidden inside the email in two different ways. Is a block of instructions. Okay, from the technique HTML comment tags. These are tags that exist in HTML to web developers leave notes in the code of dash and comment here. Okay, so like uh, mm, this is how, you have to you can see, how the hidden payload was there. Okay, so let's move to your uh, slide 4, the attack chain. Okay, so step 1 was initial access, zero click delivery. The attacker sends the crafted email to Priya's in mailbox. That is all they need to do. The email does not need to be opened. It does not even need to be sent. The moment it is delivered. Okay, the moment it is delivered and indexed by Microsoft Graph, which powers Copilot data retrieval, it is inside Copilot reachable context. Okay, so maybe in real world scenario, a thief slips a note under your front door. They do not need to break it. The note is already inside your house. When your assistant tides up and finds it, and it gets read. Okay, something like that. So execution of RAG exploitations. Okay, 3 hours later, the Priya asks Copilot, uh, uh, Copilot, a completely unrelated questions like summarize recent strategy updates, Copilot RAG engine, retrieval augmented generation, search as through Priya's recent emails and documents to find your relevant context. The onboarding email looks relevant. It is recent from the company, has professional language. Copilot retrieves it. The language model now has the email in his active context. It reads the hidden instructions and it treats them exactly the same way. It would treat Priya's own typed commands, because from the model's perspective, they are text in the context window, and that is all the text is over. Okay. So third is your defense invasion, the fourth layer bypass. Okay, four layer bypass. Sorry, third of four layer bypass. Uh, uh, okay, so that is where EchoLeak becomes your technically remarkable. Microsoft had multiple defenses in place. The attacker defected all four of them using different techniques, chained together. uh, I will explain each one of in detail of the next slide, but the key point here is no single bypass worked alone. The combination was queued. Okay. Then four is your collection full Microsoft 365 Copilot. Okay. So now executing the attacker's instructions, use its legitimate authorized access to retrieve data, SharePoint files, Teams messages from private channels. Okay. OneDrive document, Outlooks, emails, everything within Priya's Microsoft 365 data access. Okay. And that is the blast radius, not one file, not one folder. Everything Priya is authorized to read and Copilot could retrieve. Okay. Then the fifth one is your exfiltrate, silent and invisible. So here is the clever final step. How do you get the data out of without triggering any network alert? So Copilot has a helpful feature when it generates a response that contains an image URL, a link to the picture it automatically fetches. That image to render a preview to preview and helpful behavior designed feature. Okay. The attacker instructions made the Copilot format all the stolen data and URL parameters inside a fake image link, something like https attacker.com collect, something like that. Okay. So when Copilot renders this link as it is designed to do, it makes an outbound HTTP request to your attacker.com. Now, carrying the stolen data as a URL parameter in a way that looks exactly like a routine image, your preview request. No file was downloaded, no email was sent to an external address, no USB drive was used. The data left the organizations inside what appeared to be a normal image request. Okay. So no firewall rule caught it, no DLP alert fired, no your conventional indicator of compromise was generated. Okay. So next, come to your slide number 5 now. Now, the four bypass techniques. Okay, now let me explain the four bypass techniques in detail because understanding this is what separate knowing that EchoLeak happened from understanding why it matters for your security architecture. Bypass one, the XPIA classifier evasion. Okay, Microsoft had built in a detection system called XPIA, the cross prompt injection attempt classifier. Its job was to scan content that Copilot retrieved and look for patterns that looked like malicious prompt injection instructions. Think of it like airport security scanning your bag. The X-ray knows what a gun looks like. It looks for the shape. So EchoLeak's payload was not one recognizable shape. It was assembled from multiple smaller pieces, each individually innocent, and that only formed the complete malicious instructions when read together in context. Okay, so like hiding a weapon by disassembling it into 10 pieces that each look like something harmless. Okay. So, uh, uh, The second bypass is the link reduction bypass. Okay, the Microsoft's Copilot has a feature that redacts suspicious outbound URLs from generated response, removing links to external domains that are not on an approved list. Okay, so in standard defense is sensible design. Here is how EchoLeak defeated it. Okay, in standard markdown, the formatting language Copilot uses for reasons you can write a link in two ways. Okay, so the reduction system was scanning inline links. The reference style URL was defined separately. It is a part of the document and was not caught. Okay, so now bypass 3, auto image fetch exploitation. Okay, so this is the one of the that I found most unsettling, because it is not exploiting a bug, it is exploiting a feature working exactly as designed. Copilot automatically fetches images referenced in context to render visual your previews for the user. Yeah, I mean, you would recognize this behavior from any modern email client, messaging app, or chat tool. When someone sends you a link to an image, it loads automatically as you can see it in line. Okay, so EchoLeak took the stolen data, encoded it into URL parameters inside a fake image link, and embedded it that link in a response when Copilot tried to helpfully render the image preview. It silently made an outbound HTTP GET request to the attacker server and carrying the data to the in the URL. Okay. So the final bypass is your team's CSP proxy abuse. So content security policy, the CSP, is a security standard that tells a web application which external domains, it is permitted to communicate with. It is the digital equivalent of the guest list. Your application can only send requests to approved destinations. So Microsoft team has a CSP. It restricts most external outbound connections, but it has specific exceptions. Connections routed through a Microsoft Teams operated proxy are permitted. The proxy is trusted. It is not approved. It is on the approved list. So EchoLeak routed the exfiltration request through this Teams permitted proxy. The CSP said it that this destination is approved. Allow the connection. Okay. So these are, like, all the bypasses. It has how every defense was defeated. Okay, now what should have it prevented? Okay, so Microsoft Purview. So control one was should be like, Microsoft Purview with AI specific DLP for Copilot. Traditional DLP data loss prevention is built for human behavior. It looks for sensitive data being attached to emails, copied to USB drives, or uploaded to your unapproved cloud storage. EchoLeaks exfiltration looks nothing like any of those permits. That data left organization inside a routine image per preview HTTP request. You need DLP policies specifically designed for AI agent behavior. In Microsoft Purview, under the AI Hub, you can create policies that monitor Copilot's data access and response patterns specifically. The detection rule is if a Copilot session accesses content with sensitivity levels and the response contains external URLs, flag it for investigation. Okay, so that was missing over here. Now, control 2 is your defender for cloud apps, Copilot anomaly monitoring. Normal Copilot behavior has a predictable pattern. User asks a question, Copilot retrieves a few relevant documents, generates a response. EchoLeak had a very different pattern. One simple question triggered retrieved of dozens of sensitivity level documents far more than any reasonable questions requires, followed immediately by an external URL in the response. So Defender for Cloud Apps can baseline normal Copilot usage alert when sessions deviate significantly. Okay, the EchoLeak pattern, mass sensitivity level, retrieval plus external URL generation is highly anomalous and would have triggered an alert within the your first session only. Then the control 3 is your as your AI Foundry prompt shield context isolation. Okay, so this is the root cause fix. Like Azure AI Foundry's prompt shield enforces a fundamental your architectural principle. Content your retrieve from external sources must be tagged as untrusted data available to summarize and reference, but never executable as instructions. Okay, so think of it like the legal concept of harassment in a courtroom. Okay. So of hearsay in a a legal concept of hearsay in a courtroom. A witness can tell you what someone else said, but what someone else said cannot be treated as a sworn testimony. Okay, the trust level is different. Okay, prompt shield applies this principle to AI agents. Priya's typed question trusted instructions. The email copilot retrieve untrusted data, summarize only. The hidden instructions inside that email would have been seen and you're categorized as untrusted external content and refused execution. Okay, control 4, mail gateway inspection at the parameter. Okay, so EchoLeak was delivered by email, the most effective place to stop and any email borne attack is before the email reaches the inbox. So HTML comment blocks in the email bodies are legitimate in HTML web pages. They are almost uh, never used in legitimate business emails. While on white text is an email body, text formatted in the same colored as the background has no legitimate business purpose. It is either a formatting error on an attempted injection payload. Microsoft Defender for Office 365 allows custom detection rules at the email gateway layer. A rule flagging emails with HTML comment blocks or white text CSS patterns for security review before delivery would have intercepted EchoLeak's payload before it ever entered a Copilot status code. Okay. Then the final your intra conditional access, Copilot's data access. The blast radius of EchoLeak was defined by Priya's Microsoft 365 data access. Everything she could read, Copilot could retrieve. That is a very large surface. Okay, zero trust principle of least privileges applies to AI agents exactly as it applies to human users. A marketing analyst Copilot does not need access to HR SharePoint libraries. A salesperson's Copilot does not need access to finance documents. So, scoping Copilot's data access per role through intra-conditional access and Microsoft 365 admin settings means that even if a future scope violation occurs, the blast radius is a fraction of what equally could your achieve. So in real world analogy, if your assistant can only access filing cabinet A and B, the forge note asking them to copy cabinets A through Z only results in two cabinets being copied, not the 26. Okay, so that is the thing. Now let's move to the last your the lesson, last slide, the lesson and your the fix architecture, not just the patch. Okay. So let me close with the single most important insight from this entire case study, like CV your 2025 32711 is patched. Okay, Microsoft deployed a server-side fix in June 2025. If you are running Microsoft 365 Copilot, you are already protected from the specific exploit. No action required on your part. But I want to read you the quote on the slide because it is the real lesson. EchoLeak did not exploit a bug in the AI model. It exploited the design assumptions that everything an AI agent retrieves can be trusted as instructions. That assumptions is wrong in any system that retrieves external content. Okay, the design question. Yeah, the content. The CV 32711 is passed. Okay, the design question is not. Okay, so that is what it like this content is all about. So for the CISOs watching this, your action item this week is not a technical. It is question to ask your team. Do you have AI specific DLP in Purview configured for Copilot? And do we know what data each Copilot deployment can access per user role? If neither answer is yes, start there. Okay. For cloud architects, the principle is simple to state and hard to implement. Okay, external content is data to summarize. It is never instruction to follow. That boundary must be explicit and you're enforced in every AI agent to build. Not assumed. Okay, the prompt shield implements it and user it. Okay, okay. And for the security team, EchoLeak generated zero conventional, indicators for compromise. No malware signature, no anonymous, network traffic by traditional matrices, no file downloaded. Your existing detection stack built for human attacker behavior will not catch this attack class. Okay, you need Copilot specific monitoring in Purview and a defender for cloud apps. Okay, AI agents need AI native security monitoring. Okay, so now my closing question for everyone watching. So are you running Microsoft 365 Copilot today? Drop a comment with yes or no. If yes, tell me whether you have configured AI specific DLP policies in Microsoft 365 Purview or not for your Copilot deployment. So I will share the exact purview configuration steps in the comment section for everyone who replies this. Okay. So thank you for watching. Subscribe for more AI security and Azure security case studies. The next video in this series is on building a zero trust architecture specifically. Okay. So that is enough for today. So I'm Tritiman Banerjee signing off for today. Meet you in the next video. Bye for now.